Oh, that's a nice one.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the 30th vvvv meetup. We are very happy that you're joining us. We're streaming live. I'm your host, Randall Vasquez, and I'm currently in Costa Rica, but we have a beautiful audience studio also live in Berlin. So if you happen to be around Berlin and you want to join the community, maybe catch a beer or drink and talk to some friendly faces, you can also do that. And if you're watching us online, remember we can get some waves from the Berlin room. Remember, you can always send us comments or questions if you feel like it on the Element chat. We're also on YouTube, checking your comments if you want to leave some supporting notes or maybe ask some questions there. And if you want to get a bit more involved, you can also join us directly on the Zoom call and get a bit of a nicer looking video image. And also you can ask questions directly and talk to the presenters yourself. So welcome again. Very happy to have you all. We have a very nice agenda today. We have 6 presenters. We will not be having a break today, so hold on to your seats. And without much more to say, let's start with our first presenter. Leon, are you with us? I see you.
Yes, I am. I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you perfectly. Welcome. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I thought some of you guys know me from the forum or the Element chat. So I'm Leon and I go by the artist name LXT or Levoix Trip. And I just thought I'd present a little bit of stuff that I do with vvv and a current project that I'm working on. After that, can you actually see my screen or is it just black? Oh,
It's
black, huh?
just black at the moment.
Well, it worked before.
Well, I assure you, we've tested before. We were very
There we
prepared.
go.
But of course, a live demo is not a live demo without a little hiccup. Now we see your
Yeah.
YouTube page.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So yeah, I work normally as a creative technologist freelancer, most of the time with touch designer, but in the last time I continued working more and more with before. So I started these texture FX streams for the Stripe package. What I also then did, because I thought for a lot of people who do P5.js and maybe want to discover more object-oriented programming in V4 and see how it could be extended with V4, I started a series of tutorials. And yeah, recently I started a project to more apply what I'm learning. So I thought, because I'm a programmer, what often is the problem is I have a lot of files, I sit too much, and I have the feeling I don't create enough art. So I thought, why not creating a project that does all that together? So I decided to build like an interactive project where I can go through all the files that I have collected and then tracking with different media inputs, like for example, media pipe, a Kinect, or just a keyboard to kind of like force myself to move it a little bit more and to track my body and use that to trigger how the files get handled. Um, so how it's based is basically we have an interactivity part. This decides, this triggers some interactions if my body parts lay over the rectangles, like here. And if the trigger is true, it kind of like decides if it gets moved or deleted. The other logic I will show a little bit later. Maybe first we start with a little example. So let's see the window. So I think you can see the red dots in the window.
Yes.
So if I move my hand left or right, it's kind of like tracking now my hands. And now if I lay over, for example, over the inspo, and it's tracking a certain time, this now moved the file to the inspo folder. Or this is, for example, a video of mine. So this would go to LXT folder. So I would move my hand over it, wait a second, and trigger it. So this basically allows me to little bit move and sort my files at the same time. I built a system so it's like working for different files. So this is by chance right now MP4. I have like PDF files, so it's like taking a current PDF, makes an image of it, and shows the image on the screen. So I can say, okay, that was a flight. I put that to organization. And yeah, every time it randomly changes the position, so I have to move somewhere else.
Nice.
So this is kind of like the organization part. And what it's also doing is I'm grabbing the current output texture of it and then lay it over a random mask. So I've here kind of like a mask with random positioning every time. And this creates like a combined texture, which then gets like also rotated and distorted a little bit. This gets copied in a cache, and then I feed it into Stride Texture FX and create some fun, can create some fun effects. I just did some exemplary stuff, so it takes basically that and creates some distortions. Yeah, that's that. Kind of like, what else could I describe? So yeah, I'm kind of like taking the current list of files in the folder and grab the slice. And after that, I kind of do a file type check. So if you go inside, you see I'm grabbing the file name and go for the extension. And then for each extension types, I'm comparing if this the extension that I'm looking for, and I give it then a number or an index. And this index defines and allows me to use it later to decide which output gets shown. So I feel like 1, so that would be a video file. No, that would be an image file. Then that number goes into this not so pretty part. And it says like, okay, if the index for the type is 1, draw an image. Then that gets set as the output. Yeah, the same for kind of like video. I have draw PDF image. I also have audio, but in this case there's no. And if none of these other situations are true, I'm kind of like just showing the name. So I always can make sure that something is shown. Yeah, that's kind of like, I maybe can show the triggering logic. So what I'm doing this, do I have time? Yeah, I think I'm a little bit long. So I'm basically taking the 2 hands with the connect and then just outputting their X and Y position, send it into this triggering logic where I'm testing if that position where the rectangle, a 2D rectangle is assigned to, is interacting with all the UI rectangles. And if that's true, it gets kept. And that allows me to get the tag for which folder it should be sent. So I have this. Yeah, this is a proof for an unorganized desktop. Why it needs this project. So I kind of like have a folder where I watch all the files and then get the tag of the current file that I want to move and use that to decide to which folder I'm moving the files. So for example, yeah, they get moved here, and if the tag is delete, we this in the trigger move delete is executing the here. If the tag equals delete and the hand is over the rectangle for 4 seconds, I have the up edge, and this is the condition to delete. And in here, yeah, I have two conditions: condition to move, so I use the mover, or the condition to delete. And if either one of these is true, it's a success. Yeah, that's kind of like the current state. This obviously can be applied for many different interactions. So I thought about using media pipe to track head rotation, gesture, like smile is move, mouth down is delete. Yeah, there's so much I implemented, like hand tracking, so open palm, gestures, finger up, all this. Yeah, also could be a fun media installation, like that artist, yeah, basically distributes their files and people can kind of like delete them and create artworks with them. So I guess it has kind of like some application for just home or maybe some installations. Yeah, that's that basically.
Amazing. Thank you, Leon, for showing us your file system interactive manager. It sounds like quite a good thing for the people who sit too long, like most of us programmers. I'm gonna stop your timer. But yeah, very cool. I wonder if you have to, I would suggest backing up everything before running it, no, just in case you frown accidentally and end up deleting an important video file or something. But yeah, it looks quite cool. Do we have
I mean,
any? Oh, sorry.
it luckily lands in the trash, so you always can retrieve it. But yeah, you're right.
True. Yeah, super cool. Does this have a name, this project? Are you calling it something?
It's right now sort files, so it's not really imaginative.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again, Leon. Well, round of applause, I would say, for the project. Very cool. Very creative. I would say a good use of time to learn and try things out. Do we have any comments or questions on any of our multiple channels for Leon? It looks a bit quiet over there in Berlin. And I'm checking over here. I don't see much going on. I had a couple of questions. So did I get this correct? You made this just as a learning exercise type, trying out different things and giving yourself an excuse to go learn all these different things, or was this something you actually needed in reality for some project or for some actual use case?
I didn't really need it yet for a use case, but I always thought about doing an installation about like the kind of like file data trash that I'm accumulating over the time. So I was kind of like that was kind of like the first idea, and all the interactivity part is just like obviously playing with it and seeing how it could be made more interesting, and that led me to why not make something actually practical. because
Very good.
yeah,
What
deleting
about the
files is
YouTube
really annoying.
initiative? How is that going? What has been the response? What are your plans for the future?
I mean, the YouTube video is kind of like, yeah, there's like, I don't know, every time. I mean, the P5JS to V4 are around like 100 to 200 people,
Okay, not
which is
bad.
already quite a start. The texture streams run between 50 and sometimes 100. It's
Yeah.
not crazy, but I mean, I because I'm like kind of like using it anyway to work on some visual ideas. So, and maybe some people can, yeah, get some other ideas. It's more like sharing and contributing and maybe giving people some ideas.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for that initiative. Super cool. Great stuff. All right. Thanks again, Leon. And I forgot to mention, we have a nice little party trick now to keep things more orderly in terms of time for presentation. So now I have a 15-minute timer control here in Zoom. I don't know if you can see it on the main screen or on my screen, but it should give us some hint on how we're doing on presentations, and it will make a little beep when we're out of time. So yeah. So up next, we have Teresa. Hello, Teresa.
Hello.
Welcome. The floor is yours. What do you have for us today?
Thanks.
And I'll start your timer now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can. Okay. You can see everything, right? And you can also hear me, right?
Yes, perfect.
So I'm Teresa. I'm a Vienna-based multimedia artist, and today I will present a project that I did for my graduation at the University of Applied Arts, Vienna. And the project is called I Think It Was Nervous to Moving with Robots. So as it was also a graduation project, it had contained the whole research process, and it is mainly about how people react to robotic movement. So what kind of body sensations occurred. And to figure this out and also to develop out of this performance piece, I worked together with the Creative Robotic Institute in Linz. And I was supported by the artist and researcher Amir Bastan, who helped me with the experimental setup and also the coding part of the project, and also gave me his tool to make the thing, to create the thing. And for the movement with the robotic, I used a KUKA cobot arm. So a collaborative robot means that you are safe to move with the robot in the same space. It's actually more dangerous to kind of destroy the robot than the robot could hurt the human. And so here you can already see a picture of the experiment we did. So in the first stage of the project, I wanted to give 10 people a movement exercise to later note down through a questionnaire and also through body sensation mapping what kind of sensation occurred in the body. And for that, we created a setup with the cobot in a room. And next to it, you can also see the setup we had with the tool in before to not only record the movement of the humans, but also the movement of the robot. So we could simulate the movement of the cobot in before, which you can see in the picture below. And yeah, to collect the data of the people, I thought about 3 different tasks to give them. So the first one was only to get a feeling for the robot. So I said, okay, take the robotic arm and try just to move it as fast and slow or in all possible directions. And then the second task was already a bit more advanced, you could say. And I told them to kind of think that the robot is a dance partner, and they should contain 3 different movements within it. So a rotation, very close to your body, and the furthest distance of your body. And the third one was already containing a bit more a task of what kind of emotions you feel when you move with a robot. So I told them to imagine that the robotic arm could be someone they either really like or really dislike. And they should decide, and when they decided, they could move with it. So to give you an impression, this was another participant during the task. And I also brought a video clip. So this was the very first task, to just figure out how it feels to move with the cobot and what directions are possible. Yeah. And you can see more the vision of the tool we were using before, and also we recorded the movement with Kinect.
Mhm.
Maybe this gives also, yeah. So in the upper picture, you see the simulation of the movement in real time, and below is the person moving with it. So the next step was then the data collection to collect the body sensation that occurred during the movement. And that was very analog way of collecting data. So I just handed out a sheet of a body silhouette, and I told the participants to give a word to each color. So for example, shaky or tensed, tender, and each color represents a sensation, and I wanted to know in which body area this occurs. And this tool is called body sensation mapping. And I brought another video. This was also something we explored during the days in Linz. Kind of to move with the cobot in a dark space, if there's a difference or not.
And what is the light representing here? The different colors?
It's only the color of the cobot, so it helps you to know when you're allowed to move with it. It's like a safety thing. So if the color turns blue, you're allowed to move, and you also have to press a button to release the cobot. And you saw sometimes that it stops, and then it turns either yellow or red if there's a real error. But it's only a safety thing, yeah. But it made a nice effect.
Of course.
Okay. Yes, and so the last phase of the project was to translate all the data I collected into a performance piece, and that I did with the 2 dances you already saw in the videos, and that you also see on this picture. And so what we did is that each of the body sensation that the people draw on the sheets were translated into a movement, and this generated a set of choreography, and we used this for the final performance that you can see here. So I projected the simulation of the robotic movement onto a transparent textile, so to have like a holographic effect. And then also you can see in the back that I had this LED light that was representing the colors that the people draw to the sensation. And depending on the timeline of the performance, they performed the several sensations that I collected. And I have a final video of the snippet of the. Ich denke, dass sie allgemein sehr interessant ist. Without sound. Yeah, here. So the color and the movement is the sensation that occurred, and this was also the final release of the performance where you could see kind of what they danced and performed. Yeah, that would be it.
Wow, super interesting, very impressive. Kudos, thanks for sharing. I mean, I have a few questions written down already, but do we have any particular comments or questions from the audience in Berlin? I'm seeing in YouTube, where do you study in Vienna? At which institute university? That's a bit of a, yeah.
Yeah. No, I studied at the University of Applied Art, and the institute is called Art and Science. It was a master program.
Okay, cool. And so you're clearly in touch with Amir, who's very much the mind behind the whole robot vvvv world. Very cool. And you're also one of the students from Christoph from the beginner course. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So fairly new to the V4 world, you could say.
Yeah.
Well, very interesting stuff you're putting out already. Now, the performers you had, did they have to be trained in any way for this? Was there like a learning curve on how to engage with the robot and all this? How was that part?
So for me, it was important in the research phase that it was very intuitive, so that they just note down what sensation occurred. So there was nothing choreographed or kind of pre-instructions, because I want to have like this pure movements. But afterwards, they retrained for the final performance. Yeah. Okay, and also, the movements was not only the two dancers. In total, I had 11 people, and some of them had a dance background and some of them not, because I also was interested if there's a difference, if you're really trained to move with your body or not. Yeah.
And was there a difference?
Interestingly, no, because it's also I think the main difference was if you're used to move with a cobot or not, because there was one person, for example, who does also performance stuff with cobots, who was also from the Creative Robotics Institute. And I had the feeling he was kind of the only one who was really used to move.
Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, was the robot giving any force feedback? Was it giving any input in the motion, or is it just like loosely allowing the performer to move it?
So there are some restrictions, but only like the technical ones that are always there. So there are some limitations in the rotations, or yeah, for example, sometimes it got stuck if you move too fast or put too much weight on it. But there was no force feedback regarding the movement. Yeah. Okay.
And what were people's reactions? How did both the performance and the audience take this piece? What was the reaction?
For me, the most interesting thing was the third task, when I told the people to decide if they either like the cobot or not, and that it actually really had an effect on them. And that also people answered in the questionnaire, yeah, before they thought, it's a robot, I will feel nothing, but that this task really changed something. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. So something clicked in there for some of the people.
Apparently, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Well, that's all the questions I have. Do we have anything else from the studio maybe in Berlin? Here he comes.
Yes, hello. Hi,
Okay.
I'm David. Thanks for the presentation. Super lovely to see artistic practice with the help of vvvv. I think it's really, I really appreciate your presentation. It's lovely to see. My question is maybe then more related to what are your future plans? This was your master thesis, if I got it correctly, right? So what
Yes.
is ahead of you? What are your future plans, and how does vvvv maybe is part of this future endeavors, and if so, why, and if not, why not? Maybe this future question,
Yeah. Yeah, I actually want to go further in the direction with robotics and also performance pieces, or like multimedia performances. And I think V4 is a really amazing tool for that. And as was said in the beginning, I'm a beginner still, but I feel like interactive visuals or also the tool by Amir is really amazing. So I hope I can explore this further.
Well, we'll be very much looking forward to that. Do we have anything else from Berlin? If not, thank you again, Teresa. It was
Thank
lovely
you.
to see that, and we hope to see more from you in the upcoming future. Welcome to the community. Yeah,
Thanks.
great stuff. Okay, very good. So everyone's doing really good on time today, by the way. I'm not even necessary here today. Up next, we have Iñaco, who is also one of the beginner class students, and he's coming all the way from Sao Paulo. Is he with us today? Hello. Seems like maybe he's not currently with us. So let us just roll straight into the
Yeah, I don't
fourth.
see him in the list.
Okay, that's all right. In that case, we move on to our fourth presenter, who is, and this is quite a mouthful, Vultracle. I hope I said Vultracle. Maybe. Are you with us? Hello?
Someone just joined, so maybe that's him.
Okay.
Miracle is on in 8 minutes.
In what?
In 8 minutes.
Ah, okay.
Doing this in the spring.
I see. Okay. So Iñaco is going to be there like in 8 minutes. So
Okay,
there's time for
because we're a
one.
bit ahead of time.
Yeah.
We're going too quickly and very punctual, apparently, so good. So
Too early
what
to start.
shall we do? Too quickly, yeah. Sometimes we're going too slowly, sometimes too quickly. I'm not entirely sure. Should we move on? I mean, Vultracle doesn't seem to be here yet. And after that, we have Motzi, but I think he will not be. Oh,
I
he
think he
says
is
he thought there
here,
was a
but
waiting
he's
room.
muted.
I'm sorry?
I think Vultracle is here, but he's muted, or we can't hear him.
Oh, okay. And now I'm getting messages from Iñaco saying I thought there was a waiting room. So there's a bit of confusion, but if you're with us, yes, I hear you. I see your name.
Okay.
Can we hear you? Enshrouded in mystery tonight. So we don't hear you, Iñaco, but we see you're connected. And that's live streaming for you right there. Hey, I see the Berlin crowd is slowly getting a bit bigger. Good to see everyone. Lovely to see you all. And my guess is Iñaco is having some technical difficulties with his audio and video.
Oh.
Goodbye, David.
Hello.
Oh, welcome. Good to see you.
Hey, sorry guys. I thought I wasn't sure if that was working or not, but hopefully it's
not
working
worry.
now, I guess.
Happy to have you. Yeah, let me just get the timer. So we have a 15-minute presentation timer. Well, welcome. No worries. We're very happy to have you. And I'm going to start your 15-minute timer now.
Okay. So just start then?
Yes, the stage is yours.
Let me just see if I can share my screen. Maybe I think it's going to be easier to share screen, I guess. Let's see if that works.
I see your
Is it working?
website. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So just like a quick introduction. This is Iñaki. I'm a 3D artist working in VFX for the last 20 years mainly. Yeah, I've been involved also in different training programs, designing them, obviously just 3D all the time, VFX, 3D, retouching, all that stuff. And yeah, I have my own company for several years, many years ago too. And just down to some personal projects that are music related, I start looking into real-time solutions. And this is how I get to knowing vvvv. I started in the Gamma days, so I'm pretty new, or pretty newer than you all guys. Probably that you've been so many years working with vvvv. But yeah, so the thing is, I've been doing all those graphics for many years already, and I start looking into real-time solutions. And I can share, I wasn't sure if sharing patches because I didn't have time to make all the stuff ready and nice and tidy. So I just did like lots of screen grabs or screen recordings, showing from the beginning of my days in vvvv till today, I guess. I took the course, the beginner's course in the Node Institute with Chris, that I think is down there somewhere. Also, I was curious about the advanced, but obviously I'm still a long way to go, but the beginners still is advanced for me. But yeah, I think I can show you just a bit of a progress. Can you see my screen, I guess? So just from the early tests that I was doing, just easier stuff with arrays and all that kind of things, working with the camera as well. And you know, just I don't know if you can hear the audio too, because this is some music too.
Sadly not, but if you stop your share and you share again, there's a checkbox that you could enable, and then you will. Oh, now we hear something.
Okay. So basically, this is all from the early graphics and generative patches that I was creating. I start bringing audio into 4V, and just see how I can just do like videos for the music that I'm making with other guys. I really just in the audio graphics part of 4V, and it's quite interesting. From there, I was willing to pair with different EAW, like Digital Audio Workstation 2. Because I don't think there was like DSP allowance in vvvv before. I think now it's there. I haven't tested yet. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, just like it's all most of the stuff. It's just I think it's here and Stride. It's a mixture of both to create all those graphics and animation and stuff. This is also more generative. I was learning processing as well, so I tried to create some patches that I was doing in processing, just bringing them into 4V as well. That it was interesting, some reactive as well, just thinking also in more art-related installation kind of thing too. This is more reactive stuff. This is the stuff that I was doing in processing. So I tried to do those things also in 4B. And it's quite interesting because I get some results, very artistry kind of thing, but it's kind of interesting. Also pairing them with audio too at some level. But yeah, all very graphic stuff. And is that basically all sketches and sketch pads and things.
Beautiful stuff.
This is painting with Reason. This is an old version of Reason 5. And I was working on generative audio, so generative graphics, so a mixture of both. I don't think there's audio here, but some of them should have audio. But it's thinking on how I can bring all this knowledge into the stage at some point, real-time wise, I guess. And this is all the exploration I've been doing since I started probably 2 years ago, I would say. 3 years ago, I don't remember right now, but yeah. Just playing a little bit with audio tools, or you can see all these reels and very graphic. My day-to-day work, so like photoreal and commercials and advertising and films. So I'm more into.
Can we bring the audio and chat down because it's getting hard to hear your voice.
Sorry, yeah. So yeah, I'm just approaching most of the time more the graphic part of the spectrum, because my day-to-day work is always photoreal, commercial, advertising, films. So I'm not too interested on that part. So I'm getting to just, I've got a workflow now, I think, that is getting better in terms of the quality that I was interested in getting, or what I was chasing. But it's all really graphic, real-time, kind of reactive, very simple, like different patches that then I can combine somehow. This is what I'm working out now, is like how I can combine all those different patches into a single set kind of thing. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the evolution. To be honest, it's slow, but
I think you're doing a great job.
Fun.
It's far prettier than anything
like...
I've ever done.
So basically this is like also I was learning a little bit of Sonic Pi. Like Sonic Pi is for real-time coding, music, audio kind of thing. So I was pairing both. This is like all the visuals are from 4B, and all the audio is live coding or a generative patch that I did with Sonic Pi. It's not very ambient, darky, more focusing to the installation, more than a constant, I would say. All these kind of things. You can see the patch here below. More techy. And this is like a session that I had, like just playing a little bit with generative audio that I was generating, and just tweaking the different controls that I set up for the vvvv pack. Basically, it was a fun ride, because a fun experiment, because it was like, okay, with the patch that I've got, how much I can push it visually without loading any new patches. With the content that is happening right now, like with the audio content that is just playing and generating live, kind of thing. And it was quite cool because it's 40 minutes. It was just like I don't know. It was interesting, like a so motorly experienced kind of thing. But it's a communication with the machine and the audio and the visuals. It gets quite wild at some point. But it's interesting that it's all the same pack, just playing with the different settings in a way. And the visuals change quite a lot too. So that's that. And I think...
Sorry to interrupt you. So if I get you correctly, this is all one session where you're playing with the same patch and evolving as you go through
That's
time.
it, yeah. I basically live like a generative piece that I generated and the same patch, and I was just tweaking settings, and this is all the ride. to be honest, it was by mistake because I left the screen recording by mistake. I was just playing around with it, and then I noticed that I haven't stopped it. And it's like, oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Like one of those happy accidents. This is the same or the test. Different treatments, visuals as well. And then there's another projects that I was also okay, this is the more recent stuff. I also was testing like a DOM kind of preview within 4B. Basically just unwrapping a 3D mesh with the UVs in a 3D software, then bringing it into 4B. And this is like a generative patch for visuals reacting to generative audio being generated. It's just was testing okay, if I have to work in a DOM, okay, or do a show in a DOM, whatever. If I can preview, but also if the same scene that I'm previewing, can it be real time exported into the stage? This is like basically the test like 10 minutes.
Again, the audio is a tad too high. You could bring it a bit down, please. Thanks.
All right. But I was very happy because basically you're just not previewing it, but the previewing actually is the final out. And I think that's really cool because usually you just can preview or do a live set kind of thing or an act. And then this is some other stuff that I've been working recently too. This is I'm also working with generative AI as well, just to generate content, and this is basically mixing both. I think here is the patch somewhere, I can't remember, but yeah, I think I've got those ones online somewhere, but yeah, I need to tidy this one up, of course, but it's like, yeah, just the main content is generative. I think it's Comfy, if I'm not mistaken, the ones I was using for the main visuals and video, and then everything then is into vvvv for reacting to the different input of the audio.
Let's see.
Then I've got
3 minutes
tests
to go, just so you know.
Yeah, I've got some other tests here as well for reactive thingy, and that took me to a part that I'm starting developing now my own music tools with code. Basically HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I think that they here. Where is it? The latest one. But this is basically, probably if some of you are familiar with this scene, but basically this is a scene that I was working on. So I can load my desktop application that is synthesizer, and then the audio is routing into the 4B session. I think this is a Magic Chris scene, but it's helping me a lot developing all of the stuff just to see if it's reactive. But basically, yeah, all those parameters have been as an audio coming into. This is some tools that I'm developing currently. I've got 2 minutes left, right? Yeah. So the idea is at some point just playing live with my own tools and using 4B as a real-time visualizer for the audio. So all this is like, I mean, so far it's own stuff. It's like I'm just developing for myself. Maybe at some point, with some friends as well. I'm starting to share some of those apps with some friends testing. Just Windows now. But the idea maybe at some point is commercializing. I don't know yet. So far it's just filling my needs of my own tools specified for my life. Some of them are modular patches. You can patch them live, you can randomize those patches quite easily. And there is another project that I've been developing that is stopped now, that I think is interesting. This is basically, it's usually you do the audio and then you make the visuals react to the audio. This is opposite. You just create generative visuals and the data that you're generating with 4B is spitting out MIDI, and the MIDI out is playing some synths. So it's opposite of live visuals to audio. It's basically you generate the visuals and then that creates the music. I mean, this is something I started developing like last year. I stopped it, and at some point, I guess I need to grab it back because I think it's really cool. This is with another synth. So basically, all the audio and all the MIDI is coming from the session. So it's not visuals reacting to audio. It's audio being generated by the visuals. It's like the other way around. It's thinking in just an art installation. So you just leave it to your generative patch running, and that's audio, music, sound, whatever. Just to finish, I've also got this project with some fellas from Madrid. And it's basically just putting all this together. Maybe at some point to get clients. This is just like work in progress, but the idea is all the stuff that I show you kind of thing. I'm just setting up a website just to maybe in the future offering those services. But yeah, that's basically it really. As a resume, it's lots of 4B, it's lots of Houdini because I'm also using it for the visuals. And I think that's it. Wrapping up kind of thing.
Amazing stuff. I mean, man, bravo. Hats off. Wow.
Thank you.
You're already getting some love, like Daniel, who I think is also in the crowd there. Maybe he wants to say it in person, but he's absolutely loving the documentation of the learning process as well. It's very, very inspiring. I think, am I incorrect? You were in one of the Stride vvvv Academy, no, sorry, Node Institute courses, no? Like you
Yeah, I did the beginner's course like some years ago. I'm still doing it because obviously it's so much stuff. But I just basically I did like the whole one live, and then I'm reviewing the lessons that I'm more interested. And obviously there's a lot of stuff that I'm also finding really interesting, but I need to go back, like extracting all this data. I mean, I like to combine all, like extracting the data from servers, whatever, or from the net, and then bringing into 4B to make sounds and visuals as well, kind of thing. But yeah, and then I joined the advanced one. I think I was one of your students too. But yeah, that was too advanced, so I'm just digesting.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're still in the beginners ones and pulling this kind of stuff off, I can only wait to see what comes next, no? Amazing, man. Really, really cool. I had some questions for you. So are you based in Brazil at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in Sao Paulo. I'm from Madrid.
Okay.
But I'm in Sao Paulo right now.
And how is this the creative technology media art scene over there? And how is the V4 scene over there?
I think to be honest, I've been here for the last 2 years in and out kind of thing. Like probably for the last year I've been more into it. It's difficult getting to know, well, it's not difficult, but it's just, I mean, Sao Paulo is massive city, right? So it's like not just population, but in extension, okay, it's huge. So it gets more difficult than in Madrid or Barcelona to get to know people, I guess, because, you know, commuting is just not as easy as getting on a bicycle and just ride. But I think it's an amazing vibe town with lots of no opportunities, but lots of offer regarding art exhibitions, concert, obviously. So culturally, visually, it's amazing, and I think definitely that's helping me a lot developing tools and just as an influence, I guess. But I think it's a really cool spot to be. And I'm just making the most of it.
Looks like it. Very nice. I had another question because you seem to mix a lot of tools, no? You're using all sorts of different tools and bringing them together. How are you usually putting your data in and out of V4 and, you know, gluing all these different tools together? What are your usual mechanisms there?
So some cases I'm just generating all within 4B. For the more graphic generative stuff, it's all like what you're seeing on the screen now. This is all 100% generated within 4B. Using, I would say, a Skia, if I'm not mistaken, and probably a Stride for this one because it's 3D. But the rest, I would say, is just a Skia. But I'm using a lot of lately Confi UI to generate content. I'm also been using Houdini for many years. So all this stuff is more Houdini related kind of thing. This is coding. But yeah, usually it's like whether I get videos imported into like those ones where images and videos importing into 4B and just playing, jumping, playing with the timing and stuff. And just yeah, images, videos, mainly audio, and also for the visual synth, I was using audio and MIDI as well.
Okay.
And I've got one of the, I can't remember right now the tool, but it's one of those tools that you can just create virtual patches, like the banana something for audio. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember right now the name, but it was like, it basically allowed a virtual patching, so you can easily route from what, for example, the stuff that you see that we're using like Reason 5 and 4B, it was using virtual patches, so I can route everything within without any actual physical cables. And that helps a lot developing because it's just much quicker. I can't remember, I think it was Banana Patch or Audio Tool Banana or something like that. I can't remember.
Something with a banana. Okay, well, good to
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, mainly it's like audio, MIDI, I would say. Audio, MIDI, and images. And nothing really fancy. It's like just native. I might have downloaded one of those external sources, but I think my vvvv is pretty much vanilla. Vanilla version, I would say.
Stuff, man.
Yeah, I haven't updated to. I think I'm still on 6.3 or 6.5 or 6.4. I haven't updated.
7 is out. Yet. You have to, yeah.
I know. That's pending, but I'm always like a version or half a version behind. I'm quite shy.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, do you think V4 has pushed you to try things you wouldn't have tried otherwise in your, because clearly you have a lot of experience with other tools and stuff. So how does vvvv affected the way you approach your creativity in general?
I think it's just increasing massively because it's so open. It's like, it's just data, right? So you just can mix all together. No, I wouldn't say without effort, because obviously you have to put a lot of time and hours learning it and practicing. But it's like, once you understand the way it works, like once you get the basic or the foundations working, I think it goes pretty straightforward. It's like, as I was saying, I started learning a bit of processing. Then I jumped into Touch Designer, but I wasn't really happy. And also the licensing, I think, is great for 4B. Like that trust type is great because it basically you can just use it until you, let's say you get commercial projects in, and then you just obviously need to go through. But it's great having like a complete software without limitations to test it and see how much you can push it before deciding, because with other softwares, is a bit different, and that is limiting, at least from my point of view. So I think
that's great to hear.
Yeah, I think it was like it's helping me a lot. Also combining, trying MIDI, trying audio. Once you got the right patch, it's like, okay, I've got this MIDI controller or this synth working. Just get another one, patch it, just replace the the synth, and everything works. It's like once you've got the main patch, I still need figuring out many things in terms of keeping everything tidy, grouping and stuff. I'm very messy with that, but I think that will clear out with the time. But no, definitely, I don't think any of that would have been possible, in this time without the software. So it's like once you understand the foundation of the basics, and obviously Chris helped me a lot. I also attend another course with Manu Palenque, that you probably know him. He's an Argentinian artist. And he helps me a lot as well in the different courses that he also did. Because most of the stuff is always in English, and he's helping also having like in Spanish some courses in vvvv. So yeah, maybe Portuguese in the future, who knows? But yeah, it will be like a great community here in Brazil. There's many people, so.
Okay, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to just to leave you with this note, the part where you showed us where you're generating audio from the visuals, it reminded me quite a bit of a project of one of our dearest community members, Sune, which is called Motor Soul. I don't know if you're familiar with it, where he's exploring exactly that same idea.
Yeah, to be honest, when I start looking into 4B like some years ago, one of the artists that I to be honest, I emailed him once, but I need to email him again saying, hey, this is some updates, because I emailed him when I started, and I've been seeing the stuff he's done, and it's also like a huge influence for me regarding the way he tackles the stuff. Just inspiring, Yeah, I forgot to mention him, but definitely he's one. I've seen his projects, and it's really, really cool, because he also does with a lot of physical, lighting and the stuff. That this is just farther for me. I'm more like digital pad computers so far, and it would be good also taking that outside. But this is one of the things from 4B that is like you can just fruit and patch and connect everything, and I think that's just great, actually.
Oh, thank you so much again for your presentation, Iñaki. And we hope to see more from you soon. Big round of applause.
I'm sorry for the
man.
confusion. Sorry for the confusion in connecting and stuff.
But hey, we're right on schedule, so I think we're doing perfectly. Thanks again.
Fantastic.
Man. Hope to see you soon.
Great seeing you, Randall, as well. Yeah, good stuff.
Cheers. All right.
Have
Amazing.
a good one.
You too, man.
Bye-bye.
All right. So up next, we have, again, we will try a second time, Clay. Apologies. Yes. Hello, I see you, and I don't hear you.
We have pasta. And now, do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Excellent.
great. Yeah.
All right.
Hello.
Oh,
My name is
good to
Alex.
see you. Welcome. We have 15-minute timer for your presentation, which I'm going to start right now.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I will start. So today I would like to present a small library that I'm working for the last couple of months as my personal project to change my mentality from play and forget to share more with vibrant VVV community. So today we'll speak about voxels and real-time voxilization. So let me share my screen. Okay, share screen. Let's go. So let's jump right in the VVV. So I got the inspiration from the Unity, because most of my professional work is related to the Unity programming stuff. So I've decided to re-implement the real-time voxilization library from Matas, from Unity. Yeah, it was implemented 7 years ago and still looks great. So I decided to first create a first package based on VLFuse and also experiment with some visuals, because everything, at least in VVV, from VVV perspective, in my case, is related to visuals or audio visuals. So yeah, currently this library is, let me switch back, sorry for switching. So currently this library is only available on GitHub as entire repository, but I will prepare a package soon, because I'm almost finished with all examples that I want to add. So yeah, for now you just need to grab a full repository and try to do something on top of it. So here's, I've opened already a first help patch. So they describe how to voxelize a mesh. So the idea is to get mesh data that usually come from mesh, but actually you're not restricted to use mesh only, because mesh at the end on the GPU side is just a array of vertices and indices. So you can pass any GPU-friendly data for the voxelizer itself. So the first step is to prepare mesh data. So here's the step 1, you can see. The second step, you need to create a voxel bit space that's it's serve as a model for the voxelizer itself. It's do some recalculation under the hood to make sure that each voxel is maintains a cubic shape and also evenly distributed across the whole grid. Because, for example, if I press show the grid to, oh no, oh yeah. So here is a grid that is currently used. You could easily like increase the resolution because 64 it's not so visually appealing as could be going to higher resolution, but I will disable it for now. Yeah, and the third step is like run a voxilizer itself. Voxilizer itself is implemented as a compute stage as part of the VLFuse library, because mostly I'm experimenting with VLFuse, and for the last like few years I made some progress understanding, at least for my own project, how to like structure and use VLFuse for the real-time visuals. So we can jump right inside the stage itself. So it's implemented as a compute stage provider in order to, it's allow you to like combine additional stages as part of the one compute system. I will show later how it can be used. And here, yes, there is some plain AHLSL code because I don't know how much time it will take to convert it to the like plain VLFuse patch, because yeah, we go deeper. Let's be ready. Yeah, because oh no, sorry. Oh no, 1 second. Oh. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of different shaders that are responsible for each iteration of the voxelization process, because you need to like execute few stages in order to get full voxel data. So here is some, I don't know if somebody is interested in internal details. So yeah, there is some like HLSL code that is hard to convert to the regular VLFuse computables, or I don't know how to name it properly. So yeah, that's why I decided to go with the mixed approach. I found that in VLFuse, you can substitute the iRenderer interface at the very end of your compute stage. And this allows you to like mix like normal compute state approach and the HLSL approach. So here, what I'm doing is first I'm like generating a structure that is like resembles the structure on the HLSL side. So that's why you don't allow to change structure format for voxelizer. And then I run like 3 or 2, depending on the settings, passes of HLSL shaders. So in this case, oh, I don't see the upper right corner. Second, okay, of my screen. So yeah, and this approach allows you to like inject a selection stage right at the end of the previous stage, run it as a one compute system, and get a fully prepared data for rendering in cases as voxels. So also I want to mention that voxelizer itself, it runs only when input data has changed. So there is an like force update optional pin that you can force update the voxelization process. But in general, it's better to avoid unnecessary calculations unless you are not dealing with dynamically changing input data. Like, for example, here I'm using the bounding box that are calculated from the mesh, from the source mesh, but I could switch to the custom bounding box, and you can see here that when I change the size or dimensions of the box, voxelizer itself is recalculated each time automatically. But when you're done, there is no any other calculations, and it's the only thing that currently is running here is the selection stage, because selection stage under the hood uses like frame reset buffer, and it still like runs each frame. So maybe you can probably like squeeze a bit performance by manually updating selection stage, but for the sake of simplicity, I skip it in the first patch. And here we go to the rendering part. It's pretty simple. It's like buffer to entity. That's why I decided to combine it HLSL approach with the structured buffer resource approach or compute systems, because you could easily like plug in all the voxelizer data to the all rendering stuff in Fuse, like buffer to entity. So it could be not only the box, it could be anything, because you have a position, you have a size that is stored like separately in the model itself, because you already calculate the size of the box, and you don't need to like store it on the GPU side or in the voxel struct. So yeah, and here just to comparison, there is a original model. Not sure why shadows is switching when there is only buffer to entity represented in the scene, but it's other question. So yeah, here's a simple patch. Let's move on to the next example.
Just a friendly reminder, we have 5 more minutes.
Okay, I will speed up things a bit. So here, you can see. Here's the example where you can sample the UV of the original mesh also, and store it as a UV input inside inside the voxelizer struct. So here you can see that there is a voxel text code field, and here you can perform a sampling. So it's a pretty basic example, because I try to avoid adding more like assets, complicated assets and models to like keep package and repository simple. So yeah, this is the same process, but now you can sample also a UV from the original model. The difference is that in this case, you need to prepare a mesh positions, text codes, and indices of the original mesh. And also I created 2 different stages for position and text codes in order to like keep the structure format more optimized. But for now, I don't think that it's super great idea, because we are speaking about like just float 2 and not some like crazy amount of additional data in the structure. So maybe things will change in the future. So yeah. And the last example that is currently already in the repository, it's a more like, sophisticated or okay. It's not yeah, here we just doing some more interesting stuff, I would say, because previous examples it was with the how-to prefix, but this one is with example prefix. So yeah, it's become more interesting. Here is the same approach. So we have like step 1, mesh data, convert to mesh buffer source or mesh buffers. Also prepare some voxel grid space. And here we run a voxelizer. Again, I forget to mention that there is an option to sample a contour or also a volume. So in this case, we sample a volume. So let me scan line. Okay. Oh no. Stop it for now. And okay, I will stop it and show you that volume is actually producing a lot of cubes. So you get a pretty dense voxel cloud, so grids, or how you call it. So yeah, and it works well for like particle system, because usually when you, oh no, it should be smaller. Usually when you have a lot of particles, they produce a more like engaging or sophisticated effect. So let me remove. So here what's happening, again, we like run a voxelizer stage or system, and then we pass data from the voxelizer to the particles system. I haven't found yet a more like elegant way to pass the voxel indices data and sample only filtered voxels. By filtered, I mean voxels that are filled. So some voxels, for example, like here, will be not filled because there is no any mesh at this point. So it's great to filter out them as at the early stages. And here we do some like regular particle stuff, like we're sampling position. Also, we're sampling the same voxel position to particle position and to the target. It's not a good name for this parameter, but I decided, oh no, it's like how many time I have.
We just exactly ran out of time, but I think everyone is loving this. So I'm gonna let's squeeze another couple of minutes if you have something else to show.
Okay, I will just finish up with this example. So yeah, and here you will find an example how to lerp between original position and particle position that goes from lovely curl forces and then integration. So, and the rendering part in this case is still the same. We only like use a orientation vector to orient particles to like make them more dynamic. So yeah, this is all for now. I would like to add one more example that implements a GPU voxel mosaic, but yeah, I would say stay tuned, and I hope that at the end of this week, I will have all list of examples inside the repository and will prepare a package so you can use it in your own ways.
Incredible. I mean, wow. Bravo. Just incredible looking stuff. Very optimized as well. It's very clear that you spent a good amount of time thinking about optimization and performance. So thank you for that as well. And of course, for putting this out there for the community to use. It's incredible stuff. You have, I mean, on YouTube, wow, super cool. Wow. Someone's asking if the voxel itself is a mesh and whether you can change the cube for another shape. You already told us that we can change the cube for another shape.
Here, so voxel data is represented by struct where you have a position and some other data like text code or some, I would say, system data for filtering out the voxels itself. But yeah, you can like change box to sphere or sphere embosser or any other shape.
Incredible. And I'm very much not an expert on GPU stuff, but would this somehow be compatible with SDF stuff at some point also, and not just meshes, or is that a completely different ballpark?
It's completely different. I mean, you need to implement a conversion from SDF to voxels.
Mesh. And then voxel,
yeah,
okay.
currently you need to convert from the SDF to mesh, but it should be easy to convert. It should be easier to convert from SDF to the voxels rather than from mesh. Yeah, but I'm not so in currently in SDF stuff. So I'm mostly working with procedural mesh generation and etc. So that's why my input domain of choice is meshes.
Mesh.
But yeah, I think it's possible, and you could also just like edit tickets on GitHub, and I will try to research this topic because yeah, I'm also interested in any like combinations of input and output data on the GPU.
Very cool. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any questions from the studio in Berlin or comments. I mean, README is there. I'm sure he has something to say.
Hello, nice presentation. Thank you. Good showcase of what a great system Fuse is and how you can easily extend it. I would like to know, is it something that you did like just out of like interest as a personal research project, or did you have any sort of application for your own, like a personal project or anything in mind, or did you just want to research and build a tool?
Yeah, it's like a mix of the initial research and the like opportunity to implement something in vvvv, something I would say complicated, at least for me, in order to like familiarize myself with like GPU stuff and etc. But also I used it for my personal visual projects. So yeah, there is no any like professional usage behind this package. But yeah, it just, I would say, fun for me. That's why I'm doing this stuff, and like working with Fuse, it's once again fun for me. That's why I'm doing this stuff.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you again. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with this. And yeah, now you saw it. It's on GitHub. Expect potentially a NuGet in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, thank you again, man. Impressive stuff. Very cool.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to present. Yeah.
Cheers. All right. Up next, dear to my heart, Mr. Mozzi in the flesh, coming to us all the way from Austria, and also Flora. They're showing up together today as a team. So, Mozzi, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Randall. Can you hear me? Flora, are you there?
Yeah, I
Great.
can hear you. You hopefully can hear me too.
Yes.
We hear you perfectly.
There are actually two things that we're going to show today who are not related at all. The only common thing is that both of them are happening at the University of Applied Sciences in St. Pölten in Austria, where I'm located. And I'm really happy to introduce Flora to you. Flora is a student that just in the last course did a little, well, I would call it final homework. It wasn't really a project, it was just a final thing. And she last week kind of handed it in and surprised me with some really interesting, cool stuff that she did basically from scratch. And I won't take away any surprises. So Flora, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to share my screen and hopefully it will work. So, yeah. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can you see vvvv gamma too?
We see Gamma and we see a very pretty pinball machine.
Okay. So my idea was to make a pinball machine, basically. I will start my presentation by basically playing my game, because I think that's the most interesting way to show you at the beginning. So here you can see, I can throw the ball out. I can like play it with my two flippers. The first time is sometimes a bit laggy on screen, so I will play it right away again, and like that you can see a bit more of it sometimes. I hope the lag is not too bad. on Zoom?
All good.
It's not perfect, but we get the idea.
Okay, so basically it's really like a normal pinball machine. And just to clarify, I did not design this pinball game. I just took a random picture like of a pinball image that I found on the internet. I searched for something that wasn't too complicated, that had, like you can see here, those three round shapes in the middle. Those are called bumpers or kickers, which I found out later. And also, like, you can just simply see all those elements really well, and that was something that I wanted for my project. So I can start by showing you how I basically went with this project. So my first, since I don't really have that much experience yet with vvvv gamma, since we just had this course with Mr. Husinski, we basically, I basically tried to go to something where I can implement like physics with 2D stuff. And so I first thought about doing that mathematically, but that's like a whole lot of work. So I researched some more on the internet, and I found the ether physics 2D nuggets, which you can just install for vvvv gamma. And the problem with the VL nugget is that it's not that not that developed yet. So in the end I had a like, I can show you right now. I have like two dependencies there here: the ether physics VL, the normal nugget, and another one from .NET. And yeah, with the .NET one, I was able to detect collisions, if you can say it like that. And with the collision detection, I think I have it here. Like this collision detection is basically on my ball, so you can get like the ball fixture, then the fixture from the other one object that this ball is colliding with, and there you can do whole lot of stuff. And that was like the first main thing to overcome, like how do I detect these collisions and how can I do stuff with this. So since I had some previous programming experience with Unity, with C# or with also with processing, I somehow found out like, yeah, this is working similarly to how you would program it. And so I basically, rather than looking at vvvv gamma projects, I ended up looking at basically some programming projects, and that really helped a whole lot. And so that was then the way, that was the way how I basically could, for example, if my ball, I don't know, that collides with one of these three round circles in the middle, it basically gets then an impact. That's basically this apply linear impulse thing here. And then, yeah, it gets an impact, it gets like thrown away, which makes the game way more interesting. And also to all those shapes, to those round shapes or those triangles at the bottom or on the sides, I also added sound that I thought it would be nice to like have a really nice working pinball game. So obviously there has to be sound too. That worked similarly too. So I basically just put some tags to all those elements and said if it plays sound, if the tag equals play sound, then it should play some sound, and that worked out really well. That was also another major like challenge that I faced during the progress of this game. I also can show you how like the walls of my pinball game look like. Just have to connect this real quick. 1 second. I think I have to make another. So, second. Yeah, here you see like the walls. So I also said things like, yeah, if the tag equals the walls, then there shouldn't be an impact logically and stuff like that. So and yeah, the walls are basically like the restrictions where the ball can fly, as it can go through and stuff like that, like a normal pinball game would. And yeah, I also like every game should have, I also implemented like a score, and so if it counts some detections, then the score will go up. The longer the ball is in the game, the higher will be the score. And then I added also a high score. And since I didn't really work with classes or with records or something in vvvv gamma yet, that was a little bit of a problem for me. I looked up all those videos that I found, but in the end, it was like a really, really simple solution. I can zoom in here real quick. Like I get the values from top, then I like hold it, and when the ball flies out, and then I just store it in a high score. So there really wasn't, couldn't have been an easier solution. And yeah, that was basically my high score. Yeah, my flippers are on top here. Those two things I basically created. So the two flippers on the top, on the bottom are basically two polygons. And I basically created them in mind with that like the pivot point would be already where like the normally like the screw would be. So you really only have to change the rotation of this flipper. And when you press like a button or something, and so that was really easy in that case too. And yeah, like you can see here already, I can control my pinball game basically with a few different ways. The first one, and the one that is probably most similar to a real pinball game, is if you press Control on the left side of your computer or laptop and enter on the right side and space to throw the ball out. To throw the ball out, also impulse is like applied to the ball. So the longer you basically click or press your button, the more it will fly out. That's really short, and then if I press longer, it will fly out bigger. And if I click another button, like the tab button, then it gets back to the start and stuff like that. So here we go. Then I have like some alternative ways to control my game, like A, D, and S also. Because that's like usually also used for some games, or the left arrow button, the right arrow button, and also the up arrow button. And then since our assignment was to make something with more input, like from the user, I used also an Arduino for this project as also an alternative way to control my game. This was 3D printed, original for another project from Matthias too. And it has also 4 buttons. And so I first used Arduino IDE, then I compiled and uploaded those things, and then added the Arduino. And like you can see here, it's connected already, like I did. And if you, for example, press buttons now, you can basically play it with the Arduino as well. And yeah, that's basically how it works. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you for the presentation.
I'm open for some questions, or if I should explain something more from my edge. Yeah.
Well, first of all, you deserve a round of applause, Flora. Thank you for joining the community and for showcasing this amazing project. on YouTube, people are already encouraging you to export it as an Android app and sell it. So I think that's a good a good sign.
A cool thing that happened already is a person that I know who's a real pinball fan, like from the normal pinballs, like the real life pinballs, and he tried it out, and his feedback was like he really loves it. He thinks it's a little bit fast. For that reason, it's also more fun to play. But there are ways to make it slower, like you can set the restitution of the ball or the impact of the elements that give the ball these impacts. You can make it less impactful. So there are ways to make it slower. And Matthias said you could also like implement like an easy mode, hard mode, or something like that. Yeah. So.
Very cool. Very good.
That's it.
And so this was just the homework. It wasn't even like a proper project. Well, now that you're just making the rest of us look lazy, Flora, you know?
I mean, it was like the semester project of this course. So yeah.
Very nice.
Finished it, I think, last Monday.
So just to be clear, in my personal opinion, you went far beyond where most of us students go when doing this final homework, and I'm really astonished that you got that far. Also, like that you really weren't afraid to open up like C# to see like how stuff is implemented in the original library, then re-implement this in vvvv, which is something that is definitely not the beginner's topic at all. So yeah, I'm really astonished, and yeah, Christopher and I are very proud.
Yeah, thank you a lot. But like I said, like I didn't find a lot of stuff from vvvv Gamma, a lot of projects like on the internet to this topic specifically. And yeah, since I found some programming stuff from ether physics, I was like, yeah, let's look at the code, and it luckily helped. Yeah, so. Yeah.
I think you must be the first person I hear that went for the programming documentation as source material for V4, at least in the meetup. So that's very cool to hear. And yeah, it can help. It is. I wanted to ask you, how different did you find it from actual programming? Because there are some subtle differences, but you can do most of it. No, it comes quite intuitive.
I think the funny thing about this whole thing was like when we started the course with Matthias, I didn't have the connection at all with programming. I saw it like a completely different program like you would compare a Blender to, I don't know, some Adobe Photoshop app. Like it's completely different, and only with ether physics, like, and with specifically with the on collision detection things, I finally got like the connection with like it's really similar with code, and I think maybe that's only like the case for specifically this nugget, but yeah, I think still that vvvv Gamma has like a whole lot more potential for like a whole lot of different things, and yeah, it was just really a nice experience. Yeah.
Okay, very good to hear. Thank you again. I mean, super cool. Are you considering, because you said, of course, we have already this VL ether physics library that wraps some of the functionality there, but you said you didn't find the things that you were looking for, and you ended up building, I guess, your own little wrapper for the parts that were missing. Is it something you think would make sense to integrate into the main VL ether physics library at some point?
I didn't really make a lot of ether physics stuff myself, but I think the person who did the VL ether physics thing nugget that is now available already, I think it's the same person who also works on ether physics. So I think it will only take a bit more time until he does more stuff and integrates more stuff. So yeah, I think that will only be time. But like since I also realized like you can simply make basically nuggets out of your projects, out of your programming projects, I think I could try some stuff in the future. Yeah.
That would be very nice. Yeah, well, do we have any comments or questions from the audience in Berlin? for Flora? I think that's a no. In that case, Flora, thank you again so much for sharing today with us. Welcome to the community, and we hope to see more from you, hopefully soon. All right. And up next, we have none other than Mr. Hudzinski himself joining us. A pleasure to have you, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Okay.
What do you have for us today?
Well, actually, it's something that I wanted to show for a long time. It just didn't happen. It just didn't make it. I will just share my screen and see if this all works out. Because what I'm going to talk about today is a research project that we did at the University of Applied Sciences here in St. Pölten. And I just need to find out why the presentation mode is actually not working. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, good. Yeah, there's a little bit of convoluted title because it's actually a title of a presentation I gave at the IEEE VR conference in March this year. And what I unfortunately have to tell you is it's not a finished project, but it's kind of a work in progress still. I would have wanted to be it finished already, but yeah, time takes longer as it is. So who are we? St. Pölten is this little town here in the middle east of Austria, right in between Linz and Austria. We have the Fachhochschule here, where guys like Chuk, Christoph, and myself are teaching, and we also do a lot of research. And I am going to talk about the research project, which is called VR in Motion, that we kind of just finished, but it's not yet finished in the way that we have not done the final work. And this project is basically about bringing together stop motion animation and virtual reality. It has been ongoing for 3 years, and it's about finding new hybrid artistic tools and workflows to go beyond cinematic boundaries for animation. Some other people that were involved that you might know is Studio Lichterloh. So this is Digital Wannabe, and it's a art-based research project funded by the Austrian Fund for Funding Research, the FWF. And the entire project is actually quite a big project. We decided to do 4 different approaches to combine stop motion animation and virtual reality. And we made some kind of sections or chapters that we called Experimotion, where we, for each, invited artists. For the very first Experimotion, we invited Max Hattler and some guy you of the community might also know, Sune Peterson, who's working together with Max a lot. And a few others, most notably one that we did with Anna Vasov, which we were able to show something at the File Festival in Sao Paulo last year. But what I'm going to talk about today is the last Experimotion that we did together with Paul Benninger and Raul Maia, which was about 3D stop motion animation and pixelation. So what the hell is pixelation? And let me just give you a short intro about Paul. Paul is I think a dancer by original education and an art director who has done a lot of pixelation animation movies or short films. What is pixelation? I think it's better to show something than to talk about it. Basically, let me just turn on the volume. Basically, pixelation is an animation technique where you record humans frame by frame. So you try to find a fluid animation, but actually it's just simple stop motion animated frames. And Paul has done a lot of interesting movies in this regard. So here's some examples. This is Paul himself. And we invited him to work together with us and to find or to explore this new space of virtual reality and how we can combine this. Here's another one that is kind of funny because you can do this kind of way the material looks like. I hope it also is being transported over the stream because it's actually looking much better when you look at it on a high quality movie. But it has some very certain special style, and you can imagine that bringing something like this into VR can be kind of and in the end, this is just some introduction what we did. I'm not going to take away too many things because I'm going to talk about this anyway. We're quite a big team, and in the end, last July, that was in July 2024, so over a year ago, we spent a week in our video studio to record something that we used then to create a VR experience, which is not finished yet, but will be soon, hopefully. So what is the special thing about this whole thing? Well, when you want to do pixelation animation, we had to think about, okay, how are we going to capture this? If you go to VR, you basically want to have something volumetric, and volumetric capturing means, okay, how can we do this? So we did some initial tests with a multi-connect setup where we tried to capture stuff, and we thought about photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is the technique where you capture a lot of photos and then create meshes from it. But then it just happened a little bit earlier. Something happened, which was that just like a few months earlier, a paper was published on a radiance field rendering method called 3D Gaussian splatting, which probably everybody who is here has already heard about now. And that's a technique that actually, I would say, is kind of a point cloud on steroids. So I guess you mostly know what a point cloud is. And if you replace points with something that is volumetric, which means some kind of volumetric blob that has some egg kind of shape, which is a 3D-dimensional Gaussian, you can actually, with this technique, create some really, really impressive things. And I myself was also exploring some things because the first recording that I did with that was with an app and just a smartphone. And I was here at the Belvedere Museum in Vienna, where I just took a recording with an app from lumalabs.ai at that point, which I just walked around with my smartphone, kind of took a video that it took me like, I don't know, not even 5 minutes or something like this. And 1 hour later, I got back something like this, which is some almost photorealistic thing. And I thought, okay, this is something big. Yeah, this is something we should take into account. And just to give you an idea what splatting is about. So you see that this volume that you get out of here is actually made up of a lot of different little splats, as they are called. Yeah, and when you render them correctly, because they all have opacity, you really get something out that is really looking photorealistic. And the recording process is super simple. So basically, when you do the 3D Gaussian splatting, what you need is a lot of photos that are captured from many angles for the object that you actually want to capture. Then you do some kind of training optimization process where you get out a lot of so-called splats. And in the end, when you render the whole thing, it really looks very good. It's a very resource-intensive process to do. And we then thought, okay, if we want to do this and if we want to do some stop-motion animation, we cannot just use one smartphone and walk around. So we therefore built ourselves a volumetric capture stage. And a volumetric capture stage needs a lot of cameras. Since our research project was kind of limited, I mean, we had some resources, but we were thinking about, okay, what is actually the most effective way to get a lot of cameras. And also when you get a lot of cameras, you need to handle them, because handling a lot of cameras, if you have to do one thing just that takes like 5 seconds, but you have to do it like, I don't know, 50 times, then it becomes really long time. And in the end, we decided to write ourselves a smartphone app and buy a lot of smartphones. So this is a Google Pixel 8a that we used, and made an app for this that allowed us to volumetrically capture something in a stage. And of course, also we needed a lot of stuff around this, because when you are doing recording like this, you need to capture, you need the phones to capture. So all of them need to have the same settings. Then you need to get all the material from the phones. Then you want to probably have some idea what is actually going on while capturing. Then you have to think that the director who is working here with the artist has to know what's actually going on. And the artist himself needs to know what is going on. And so I'm not going to talk about too long about this, because I want to show you also something and my time is running out. So we made ourselves an app for app control. We controlled this app via a control software that we had running on a PC. This control software was connected to a game controller that was in the director's hands, who was communicating with the actor. And the director himself could shoot the photos by triggering the control software that were triggering the smartphones. And while doing this, we also had a parallel setup running a software called Dragon Frame, which is a very common software in for stop motion animation, where we also got an immediate preview of at least of a two-dimensional movie of what is actually happening. Wow. So just to give you an idea, so that was how this all looked like. So you really have to be yeah, I was really amazed by this actor, Raúl, who was kind of, keeping his position and like only moving minimally during this whole capturing thing. And he could hold a certain pose for like 2 hours or something like this. Really, really some impressive work that he did. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the 3DS creation because that's a whole chapter of its own. But in the end, what we did is we captured this actor and we wanted to create a VR experience, which also meant that we need to create some kind of environment for this whole thing that we also captured. This is some miniature thing that was really built with cardboard by Power. And we also had a lot of props that we then brought in our capture stage to get some captures. And in the end, of course, we needed to have some kind of render engine. And even though we started using Unity for this, because there were at that time some Unity demos available, we were happy to get Christian and Tebian we're happy to being able to sponsor them to do the implementation or sponsor most of the implementation of the 3D Gaussian splatting renderer and some buffer player for the Fuse project. So that was basically the technical base that we're working with on now. And enough of talk, let's show some things. So what are we actually looking at? So let me just do it that way because that might be better. So what is really impressive about this technique that is called 3D Gaussian splatting is that actually as an input, what you get is basically just a bunch of images. Yeah, so that's like one frame that we captured from 35 different poses shot, and we recorded like 3 minutes at 24 FPS, which resulted in like over 100,000 JPEGs at the end of the week. The sheer amount of data that you need to handle for this and everything that is coming with that is just a total problem on its own. Yeah, but what you can do is you can really take these images and using this technique, you can really create something like this. And you can see, of course, when you look in the back, there's lots of artifacts, but the core part of the stage is actually really well captured. So I would say it's not 100% photorealistic, especially when it comes close. You can see that there's lots of artifacts, but it's a totally different style. And being able to render something like this in vvvv is really great fun because then, of course, we have all the creative freedom to do stuff like this. And also, Tebian did some amazing work to convert the image stack player, the DDS player for PLY buffers, which is the basic format for the thing. And so now we can actually play back this thing. It's actually a little too slow.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not going to take away the entire thing, but when you want to do VR, you want to have full freedom to move around. And this is just like the raw material. So having this is great fun. And what is the current status of the project? I hope to be done at the end of autumn or the beginning of winter. Current status is that we actually needed also then in the end a lot of tools to kind of make working with this creative, because you have to be aware that we had no idea what this is going to look like and how it is going to look like in VR, because looking at this at the screen is one thing and looking at it in VR is a totally different thing because it's much bigger and much more details, but it does work. I cannot show it to you today, but it does work and it's really great. And in the end, we are working on a lot of tools to make this now kind of be used as like you wanted to have it in a 3D engine, so you can add a lot of props. You can like naturally move them around like you're used to it, like in an editor. And the wonderful thing about this 3D Gaussian splatting technique is that since everything that you see here is basically a point cloud, you can just mix everything. And apart from like details, like, okay, you don't have lighting or simulated lighting yet, like you used to in any 3D engine, you do actually get quite quickly results that are really usable and really nice. Also, I know my time's up, but also you have to be aware that actually let's play back something in here. Since we are actually recording this frame by frame and also individually playing back each frame or train each frame, so there's no continuous way of looking at all the frames, we do have a lot of artifacts in there. But to be honest, the 3D Gaussian splatting technique, since it all looks like kind of little hatches, it looks pretty good. It's not bad artifacts like as you used it with JPEG, but it's artifacts that are kind of neat. Yeah, so you can see it quite well here that it's actually made up of lots of little hatches in a way. And also like this lamp here, it's actually a totally low res. It's not even, I think, 2000 or 3000 splats, but it does have a certain style that really helps with the whole thing. And I'm not going to take away the story that is being developed out of this, because this is like just a work sample. By the way, this splat here was captured with a drone from the outside, so it's not something that is related to the capturing stage. But yeah, I really have sometimes the feeling this is going to be some big thing in the future for filmmaking in general, because it really showed us that becoming that making volumetric captures possible opens up a totally new stage for creating new kinds of cinematic experiences. And I'm really looking forward to present you the final project when it's done. I hope it's not going to take too long, but as you can imagine, there's so many things that pop up that have to be solved. And since also in this whole field of 3D Gaussian splatting, you have the feeling that like every week there's 3 new papers on this topic that solve something. And dynamic 3D Gaussian splatting is now the big next thing, where it's really about creating movies. And we're just using the very, very basic technique here. So yeah, we'll see where this all goes. But I'm quite curious to see what your reactions are when you see this in real life in VR. It's going to be fun. I hope to be able to show this at some point. Maybe there's a next Node festival or something like this. We'll see. Okay, thank you.
Amazing stuff. Wow, Jesus, so hard stealing your show. I mean, yes, it has a very peculiar aesthetic to it. It's almost hinting towards impressionism in a way. It has like a fussy kind of strokey vibe to it, which is really adorable and very fresh, very new.
Yes, I have to admit that also, like, we didn't go for the highest quality because just for performance reasons, we had to throw out some of the things that would be possible, because 3D Gaussian splatting also works very well with reflections and these kinds of things. So spherical harmonics are a thing in 3D Gaussian splatting that we're not using. Anyways, it still looks very good, and also we liked the style a lot. So we were kind of pleased with what we have, and yeah. Finishing this whole thing first is like the priority before we go into like high resolution stuff.
Amazing stuff. It's pouring rain here, so maybe my audio is getting a bit muddy, but do we have any questions from Berlin?
Hello, Motzi.
Hey, bring me.
Hi, did you look into relighting the splats already? Like especially when you switched on these props and background, it looked almost kind of flat because lighting
it looks totally flat because we don't have any lighting at all. Of course, also like we don't have shadow casting and these kinds of things. We will probably simulate this, but we're not going to do some real relighting because I mean, we have to solve so many other things, and also like to be able to work within vvvv in a creative way that you are actually like, okay, you can work object oriented. There was already so much work to get it in this form, but now the fun starts. And relighting has several dimensions that you could look at, because it's about relighting the splats themselves so that actually you could place a light source somewhere. Then it's about shadow casting. It's a different topic. And these are things that are actually not simple. and therefore probably out of scope for this project. So we will probably simulate this and try to get it in a form that, yeah, doesn't look disconnected from the floor or the walls. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I really had the impression that, okay, I implemented something for a week, and then like 2 weeks later, somebody else implemented something on the internet. And I also have to admit that like many of the helping scripts that I did in Python, I probably couldn't have done if AI wasn't there right now. That really sped up the entire process, because when they say, okay, you want to process like, I don't know, 1,000 PLY files to rotate them. And rotation is a big thing, because with the splat, you don't not only have like the positions, but also the orientation of the splats, and you have to take this into account. And when it comes to spherical harmonics, if you want to rotate them, then it becomes even further complicated. So there's so many things that we just left out just for sake of simplicity.
Yeah, sure. Like if you're interested, maybe it's worth, like if you haven't already, to look into the code base of the Houdini G-subs, which is, I think, just publicly available on GitHub, and they have a lot of interesting demos and use cases and tools built around splats. So maybe there's something for you to pick there. I don't know.
Most likely, but first things first. First, I need to get this done. And also, since Christian Wick of Texon, when he implemented it, he totally integrated it into the Fuse pipeline. So it's totally possible to like create take a splat and put it into a particle system, and then do some noise animation and these kinds of things. So that's a pretty neat feature when it comes to not just displaying stuff, but having effects. And so, yeah, give a big shout out to Christian and also Tibian, who did a lot of the sorting work and also the playback work. And yeah, because in this meetup we had like 2 big things that were integrated into Fuse, and Fuse is just a very nice space to do this. So yeah, from my side, a big thank you to you. If you see this, thank you.
Yes, and also David, if you're watching Node, the next Node, we need a Node soon, no? You're getting love from the YouTube audience, hearts, and super nice. And yes, we hope to see the results of your very impressive work soon, Matthias.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Finally, last but not least, we have Vince with us. I see you over there. Welcome, Vince.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Welcome. We hear you just fine. I hear you're here today with us to talk about BL AxiDraw.
Yes.
Very exciting stuff. All right, let me start your timer now, and the stage is yours.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, so my name is Vincent, and I'm sitting here in London. I'm architect by trade. I have my own little office, and I also teach at the UCL, and also part in the UCL we are teaching 4V. And a few years ago I have bought an AxiDraw. For the ones that don't exactly know what an AxiDraw is, that it's a pen plotter. If I share my screen, how do I do that? Give me a second. It's
we see your Windows background.
Okay, that it is. So here you see it. So it's basically very old style printing machine. It's a robotic arm that it's controlled, and that allows you to draw. Very simple. But it allows you to do actually very beautiful things like kind of algorithmic drawings. So it's really cool. And so yeah, I mean, AxiDraw, it's when you look them up on the website, it's they are doing beautiful machines. They are relatively expensive, and I actually ended up buying a Chinese copy called iDraw. You can buy them on Amazon for half or 1/3 of the price. And it's pretty much a copy, so to speak. But practically all the support that Axidraw have developed over the years, they are working with these machines as well, and that's exactly what I have done. To give a little bit of more context. So Axidraw, they basically have developed two scripts in Python. One is a command line interface that allows you to send SVG drawings directly to the plotter. This is one thing. The other thing, it would allow another environment allows you to control your plotter in real time. So typically, when you print with an Axidraw or with an iDrawer, you take a software like Illustrator. You draw your artwork. You export your artwork as a SVG. Then you open up a new software. In my case, it was Inkscape. And in Inkscape, there is a plugin that then allows you to draw your drawing in on the plotter, right? And that's incredibly complicated. It takes ages, and it's just no fun. So and then I bought this machine years ago, and it took me quite a while to understand how it works. And so finally, what I have done, I have basically patched an environment that basically takes an SVG and generates a preview, and then plots it on the plotter, right? And that goes super fast and gives the level of control I needed. So yeah, I mean it's a help patch. You can get it on Nougat, right? There it's also explained the dependencies. So for that thing to work, you will need to have Python installed, and you also need to have the command line interface installed, and then additionally simple HTTP. These would be the dependencies, but it's all kind of explained. And there's also GitHub, the GitHub blog where the same is basically repeated. Yeah, so if I am now going to yeah, I mean, typically I would start in Grasshopper. I'm not using Illustrator, that's not my thing. Here in this case, I have generated a Python container that exports this one as an SVG. And once I do have the SVG saved somewhere on my hard drive, I can load the file. I give the path to the file. I can generate a preview like as such. I get here the relevant information, such as the plotting time. I'm getting the configuration that I have set, and I can then press print. and then it should work.
Live demo moment.
Here, you see, it works.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
so
moves.
it moves and it does noise. So
Amazing.
all very good, all very good, all very good. I'm really excited. And oh my God, I have to plug in my PC. Okay, so now I'm back. Yeah, so there are a few things that needs to be known before using this patch. Well, I mean, first of all, there is a difference between sorry, hang on. Let me share my camera because now you see my hair. Voilà. So, first of all, there's a difference between the Axie draw and the Chinese copy. So the Chinese copy has a slightly different servo that changes the step size. So you have to take that into account by scaling up the initial SVG to account for this. And there are also other tweaks. But yeah, I mean, the biggest difference would be the zoom factor of the drawings. But yeah, I mean, when you open this, the thing which is actually the most important part is that under the hood it works with the executor. So basically, I call Python and I send this command line over to Python to execute. And this is all it is. And when you then check here how it works with the command line interface, CLI, you see these commands all explained, all the nice things you can do with it. And yeah, and that's exactly that's the starting point with how that has been developed. So practically speaking, I'm taking the SVG. I'm with the executor. I'm executing basically is a command that gives me the preview. This preview is then getting parsed and displayed in Skia. I'm also then getting information like the estimation, how long this plot is going to take, and all these kind of things. That would be one step. Once I'm happy with all that, I send it over to the print. So basically, I press here, I print it, and that's exactly the same thing. So when you look here, that's basically the and that's something else. That it's practically speaking the way. Well, I'm sending it over to the executor, sending it off, and then when the print is completed, I'm getting a message on my phone, an SMS on my phone that the print is completed. So typically these prints, they can take quite long overnight, and then it's actually nice to know how long it has taken finally. So this part is the typical stuff that you use every day, but then there are also the runtime configuration, like the speed of the plots, then the height, right? And then there's also a configuration file that needs to be adjusted because you just don't want that that the printer head goes beyond the A3 paper, and this needs to be taken into account in this configuration file. And then this is then the API that allows me to get a message when the plot is finished. Yeah, and then these are basically the configuration settings that I have wrapped up in a record. And then there are also direct commands like if I want to raise or lower the pen, or I want to cancel the plot, that would be done here. And yeah, so I've been using that quite a lot, and it works pretty well. So I started with these kind of things, and then that got a little bit boring, and I started to print the point clouds from Fuse.
Vince, would you mind like stop the screen share so we can see the images, like your prints bigger, please?
I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't. Okay,
yeah,
right.
so we
Yeah,
can see
here,
your art, yes.
Yeah, that's basically when I started printing point clouds from Fuse, which was pretty cool. It's very, I mean, it's really fucking stable because there are lots of points in Fuse, right? And it's not trivial to get it all done.
Hang on, is that literally putting a point where every point in the point cloud was? Oh my God. What?
Yeah.
That's
It took me an
insane.
entire pen to do it. But it was worth, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, so my time's almost over. That it is. So this is the first part of how to use 4V and add an Axidraw. I hope that maybe some people in the community might find it useful. In case it doesn't work, I wouldn't be surprised. You can reach out.
Well, bravo, incredible stuff.
Much.
I mean, very well put together. You can see the attention to detail, this quality of life features, like the preview, being able to configure all this stuff, getting how much time it's going to take. It's all really well thought of. My first thought, I mean, you're wondering if somebody in the community will be interested. I can tell you, we had like a gathering not long ago. Oh my God, the name is escaping me now. Link, I'm sorry, where we all got together for a weekend. And one of the main projects that got people going was somebody brought along a plotter, and Yorick, who I'm looking at right now over there, spent 2 or 3 days trying to get this whole thing set up, convert into G code, and I don't know what else is happening under the hood. But I think there's already quite a bit of interest in this kind of plotting domain. Yes. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are interested.
So there are basically 2 ways of interacting with this thing. One way is to first generate a graphic and to print that graphic, which is nice. It's not very interactive. And the other way is actually to do it really interactive with an EVB code. I've spent a lot of time understanding how that works with the EVB code. It doesn't work yet, but I believe that relatively soon I might be putting up a patch that shows how to feed this thing the right command at the right time without getting confused.
Wow, yeah, because the synchronization and the timing is quite important as well, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Super cool. And you mentioned also potentially real-time applications for this, no?
Absolutely. That's the entire thing. To have this plotter actually doing something you don't know what's gonna do. Yeah.
Very nice. Super cool. I mean, thanks for sharing, Vincent. Very nice. I really hope people download this and play with it. Do we have any comments? I'm wondering if Jörg has anything to say on this particular topic. Seems like he's very relaxed over there, so maybe we leave him at that.
I'm just envious because I don't have an AxiDraw or a similar device. I would like to have one and waste some time with it, but I don't have that time and also not the plotter. So no plotting for me.
All right.
But great to see you explore this topic.
Yeah.
A couple of things I was going to mention. One, you mentioned like the differences between your Chinese clone and the original device. I don't know how you handled it in the library, but I would suggest these parameters being somewhere visible, like this zoom level, because if you buy the real thing, you want to use your library also, no?
Yeah.
So maybe somehow allowing for it to work with both would be a nice thing for the future. And another thing in your interest is you showed the whole YouTube world your WhatsApp API key. Just before, so I would probably delete that one and create a new one. Otherwise, you might be getting WhatsApp spam in the near future.
Good idea. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vincent. Super cool. I really hope to see you. Yes.
Yeah, sure. You said you would always use SVG as an intermediate format that is finally being sent to the printer. So, like, when it's about creating a computer graphic, I'm just looking at Amia's Zoom title image, which is like a Brüll or some mesh to something. How would you convert a mesh to something that you would draw in AxiDraw?
A mesh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would create an SVG. I would put it in Rhino, make it 2D, and do it.
But that's a pixel workflow where you would have like the pixel image that you would kind of re-vectorize in Rhino, or is it?
I have in Grasshopper I have written a little Python plugin that exports me any Rhino geometry as an SVG. So basically, yeah, SVG is the common format. Sure, you can start coding your own thing with a coding language called EBB, but at a certain point you really wonder why you're doing this, because it's just a lot of work, and somehow SVG seems to me the common standard.
But did I get this right, that you need to take this step over Rhino? Like if you have something, you need to create this Rhino format and from the Rhino, or is it just like to create the SVG file? So if you have something as an SVG, you just can go directly.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So typically, you need to make sure that the SVG saves also the size of the paper, which is not a normal thing. So when you simply download an SVG from the internet and just print it, you do not know where this print is gonna be on the paper, right? So you need somehow to figure out a strategy to also save the paper size with the SVG, which works in Rhino, but I mean I just don't use Illustrator. It's not my thing. Maybe it works in any other software. I don't know, right?
I just wondered, like, if I can do everything within vvvv, like creating something and go directly to AxiDraw, or what steps are necessary to kind of have the most short workflow.
If you draw well, I mean, you would create an SVG. because
I mean, there's lots of SVG tools in .NET and also probably Skia and I don't know,
I mean,
VL Poly tools. And...
yes, in this specific case, I'm using a library that has been developed by Axidraw, and this library works with SVG, right? And it was convenient because it's already
it's a great thing. I'm just like thinking.
The alternative would be to use to translate whatever you do into an EBB command code, which is possible. Yeah, you can do it. It's not a big thing. I have done. I sort of have done it, but you're getting very, very far into intricacies that I really don't know if other people have solved them doing it one way.
The same I'd love to get my hands on one of these things, but I'm kind of in a similar situation like Jörg is.
I mean, seeing this thing like plotting, it's very hypnotic, and somehow it's beautiful. I mean, so yesterday I have just printed this thing here. And I'm really happy. It's kind of coding, but it's the real stuff. You get to think about the pen, the paper, and the quality of the paper, the quality of the pen, and so there's just a lot to do, and there's a huge community out there. It's really cool.
Loving it. Great work.
Amazing stuff. On the Zoom chat, somebody brought up that we do have a VL Rhino integration package out there. I don't know if you're aware of that, Vince. But it might be interesting to you in some way.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a good. I'm using this integration. It's a cool thing. So really cool.
All right. Well then, I think again, thank you so much, Vince. Very lovely stuff. I hope to see more plot artwork coming out of V4. And thank you just so much for sharing. Hope to have you again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up for today. We had a very interesting one, and let me do my usual wrap up. First, we had Level Strip with his very, I would say, inspiring workflow of, I want to learn this tool, I want to go further. How do I force myself to teach myself about this and to implement solutions for real life problems like moving files and folders? So that was very refreshing there. Also, all of his YouTube tutorials, which you should absolutely check out. Then we had Teresa with her very cool project as well. Then we had from Brazil, Iñaco with his very cool 3D scene work and showcasing all of his learning process in Gamma, which is already quite mind-blowing for someone who still calls himself a beginner. Then we had Vultraklech, which I see still online. By the way, somebody was asking where you're based.
I'm originally from Belarus, but currently living in Poland.
Okay.
Poznan, it's near the Berlin.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Thanks for answering that. Somebody out there was interested. I think it was Remini. So very cool voxilizer project showing us again what Fuse can do if you set your mind to use it properly, and already shareable and downloadable on GitHub. So that will be, I'm sure, it's going to be the source of many cool upcoming projects. And then, of course, we had Flora putting us all to shame with what is called the homework and is a proper, fully fledged game project out there. Very cool. On there, of course, Christoph and Matthias's tutoring. So if you're interested in doing cool stuff, check out the stuff they're teaching. There's courses, there's university stuff happening as well. So stay tuned on that. Of course, Matthias showing us his crazy splatting, stop motion video extravaganza, whatever you want to call it. Very, very cool stuff. And last but not least, Vincent sharing his very cool plotting project with us. I think I didn't miss anyone. So yeah, quite a meetup, quite a session. Thank you to all the presenters for taking your time and sharing your beautiful work with us. It was lovely to see the stuff you're doing. Thanks to everybody who joined us in the interwebs. Thanks to everybody who is with us live in Berlin. And of course, big thank you to Maxime, who is in controls and making sure this whole thing actually happens. And thanks to the Node Institute for providing us with their space and infrastructure and for always encouraging the meetups. And of course, finally, thank you, the audience, for joining us from wherever you are and tuning in and staying in touch with our meetups every time. We will be back again in about 2 months' time. I think that's the normal rotation at the moment. And of course, I nearly forgot, thanks to the whole team behind the meetups, Christoph, the devs, Maxime, and we have a whole operation happening behind the scenes where people are spending a lot of time curating and finding the presenters and making all this happen. So thank you.
And thank you
as
very
always.
much for moderating again, Randall.
I think it went well this time. No, the timer was a good addition. So yeah, thank you all again. Lovely to see you and catch you on the next one. Ciao.